While he was busy demonizing MAGA Republicans in his speech last night, there's one topic that President Biden is refusing to bring up: the border crisis. And of course, this isn't actually surprising, considering that in his 18 months as president, Biden hasn't visited the border a single time, not once. And as we continue to cover the crisis on our southern border on this show, the situation only continues to escalate. In just the past 11 months, there have already been close to 2 million migrant encounters at our border. And when asked about the situation, here's what White House Press Secretary Karine Pierre had to say about it.
If somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated, they're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. Like, we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day.
Not like that's not happening. We just see videos of it constantly. Here to respond is our company reporter at The Daily Caller and Newsmax contributor Chrissy Clark, host of O'Connor and Company, Larry O'Connor, and host of The Joe Pags Show, Joe Pags. Love having three company. I say this every time Sean's gone. He's missing out, but we're going to have some fun. All right, Joe, I'm going to start with you. It seems like Karine Jean-Pierre pulling a page out of VP Kamala Harris's notebook there, laughing at such a serious matter. The sad thing is, one thing I've noticed since Biden has turned a blind eye to this, you also see Democrats turning a blind eye to it, not really talking about it. It has become a Republican issue, it seems like. But this is such an important issue. It's an issue that they act like isn't happening. But like I said, there is video footage. There are reports. How much longer can they act like this is a non-issue?
I think that she's actually getting her walking and talking papers from Baghdad Bob. I'm sitting in San Antonio, Texas. I'm telling you, it's happening. I know she doesn't think that it's happening. Either she doesn't think it is, or this is just righteous indignation, hoping that some people that are watching and listening will just believe her. Of course they're walking across the border. Of course they're swimming across the border. Of course they're driving across the border. And once they get here, they get sent anywhere they want to go. And the idea, see, she was answering a question about Novak Djokovic, who is a pro tennis player, one of the best in the world, that's not allowed to come and play in the U.S. Open because he won't prove that he's vaccinated. I had Tony Gonzalez on, the guy who is the district right on the border. He's the representative there. He said every single day, not only are they coming in, nobody's checking for vaccine passports, and also people are coming in with COVID-19 every single day from wherever they're coming from. So either she's lying, she's incompetent, a little of both, she's Baghdad Bob. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's really, Karine, it's happening. Come and visit us.
Yeah, not only do they not have COVID passports, they don't have any passport. They don't have any form of ID, Chrissy. And you know, the thing is, I think about during the Trump administration, we had AOC down there crying, you know, acting like nothing was humane. Where are those people now? Because they try to act like this, they are so humane, but we have people dying down there. We have drugs coming across, and no one is taking it seriously on the Democratic side so far, Chrissy.
Absolutely. And, you know, what I like to think, or maybe I'm just being optimistic and thinking the best of this, but when I went down to the border about a year ago, what I came to realize is that the wall that President Trump talked about is really only political in D.C. and New York. Everywhere else, especially along in those border towns in Arizona and in Texas, it's not a controversial issue. No matter what side of the partisan aisle you're on, you believe that there should be a wall in order to protect law enforcement, border enforcement, and the migrants that are coming across the border. My hope is that the Biden administration is dodging these questions and trying to laugh it off, because they do realize, in fact, that the border wall is very important and is a part of our national security. And that's why they're silently putting it up in Arizona and then not answering questions about it in order to either do the right thing while simultaneously trying to appease their base. So I'm hoping, I would rather have them, even if they're saying all the wrong things, I'd rather have them doing the right things. So if that's what they continue doing, I think I'm okay with it, even if their rhetoric is absolute garbage.
Well, Larry, Democrats do tout themselves as this humane kind when it comes to immigration and this open border policy. It's terrible. Yeah. We see what's happening. We're talking about it right now. I get that immigration is a polarizing issue, but Republicans are actually very pro-immigration. They just want it done legally. Do you think that Republicans should be revamping their message? Because it seems like they're the ones getting demonized in all this.
Yeah, well, listen, Democrats don't have compassion, actually. Let's just be clear here. They use these human beings as political pawns. That's all it is. It's a talking point. And as you said, as soon as Biden becomes president, AOC is nowhere to be seen when we have a real humanitarian crisis on the border. Of course, Republicans should be leaning into this. They should have learned the lesson from 2016. You know, we've had decades of Republican politicians who talk a good talk about the border. They say they want to protect the borders, and then as soon as they're elected, they literally did nothing. In fact, they had anti-closed borders policies. They had open borders policies. If Republicans want to be serious and win the election, they need to do this. And Karine and Pierre yesterday, right there in that press conference, they gave them a television ad made to order. She's either lying or she's completely clueless. But this is a very real crisis. And there's a reason why you didn't hear Benito Biden mentioning it last night, because he's trying to change the subject by demonizing his political opponents.
Joe, it's ironic that we have President Biden last night talking about law and order, about democracy, and this guy isn't following immigration law, immigration policy. They just act like it's non-existent. But we actually do have immigration laws and immigration policies in this country.
Well, we do. And a couple of days before that, when he was in Wilkes-Barre, he literally said we have to stop the trafficking of fentanyl across the border. He said those words. It's coming across the border in larger numbers than ever and killing 100,000 Americans a year because Joe Biden and people on the left have an open border policy. They want to be globalist. They don't want America to be independent. The sovereignty doesn't matter. And when he talks about, he said it for 3 days now, law enforcement, we've got to back law enforcement. We've got video after video, soundbite after soundbite of people on his side, including him redirecting money away from law enforcement. And now they're talking about enforcing the law. And at the same time, he's attacking 74 million Americans. I don't know what the idea was other than, with last night and Wilkes-Barre before then, other than to say, we're going to really get our rear ends kicked in November. Let's at least vilify the other side to maybe save a seat or two. I can't figure out why he's doing it otherwise, because he has the ability. He's the executive, the chief dude in charge to shut down the border now and enforce law that is on the books, like Larry said. Just not doing it. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to get Larry and Chrissy both in. So, Chrissy, you think about it, we bring up this fentanyl. It's the #1 killer of 18 to 45-year-olds. Why isn't Biden using executive power to call an emergency for the fentanyl coming into this country?
Well, because that would involve actually doing something at the southern border and tackling China. I mean, what you have to understand, as border hawks, is that when people are coming across the border, they're not just coming from Central American countries and Mexico. They're coming from all over the world. Border Patrol agents say time and time again that we're having immigrants from China, from all over the world. And so not only does Joe Biden have to deal with the southern border issue, but he's got to deal with the China issue, one that we all know Joe Biden's not great at foreign policy.
All right, Larry, last word here.
Yeah, I'll say that we might see some movement here as the polls start to look devastating by November. And one clear thing that's happened here because of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and New York City are suddenly border towns. And look what they're doing. They're decrying, here they are, sanctuary cities, and they're decrying these illegal immigrants coming into their cities via busloads. And it's just a fraction of what's happening down in Texas. That pressure from within the tent, from Democrat mayors, might actually make a difference in terms of getting some relief on the border, but I doubt it.
I hope so. All right, Joe, Larry, Chrissy, stick around. We're going to play the company quiz, and here is a little clue for you. Dr. Anthony Fauci is once again trying to warn us about a virus, but are Americans still listening to him? We'll be back with company quiz right after this.